In this video training, I'm going to be showing you how to add and verify a domain into your Facebook ad account and then go on and set up the aggregated events that you want to track back to that domain name for any ads you want to run. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm in my ad manager account, and if you're starting at this point, which is probably, unless you know the direct link through to your business settings, then this is probably the best place to start from. And two places you can get to your business settings. The first is if you click on All Tools and scroll down where it says Manage Business Settings, you can click on there, or you can come straight down on the left here to this little cog icon and click on that, and that will also then take you straight through to your business settings. Once you're in your business settings, you're going to scroll down in this left-hand menu and go to Brand Safety and then click on Domains. So as you'll see, I've got a few domains that are actually already added and verified, and I'm going to add a new one today. But this brings me into something that people are very much unaware of. That is one of the key things, the most important thing you need to know when going through this process. And that is that if you are using other platforms to host your funnel pages, your courses, anything like that, anywhere where you're sending traffic to from Facebook. So let's give some examples. So ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, Kajabi. I use an all-in-one platform called FG Funnels. So any of these sorts of platforms, if you're using those, if you're not literally just sending traffic direct to your website, you need to make sure that you have either a completely separate domain name to be used on those platforms to that of your website, unless you're hosting a website on one of those platforms as well. Because what people are doing, they're trying to verify a domain that doesn't belong to them. So for example, if I don't use ClickFunnels anymore, but if I was to go back and set up a new account with ClickFunnels, I would automatically be given a URL to use, a domain name to use on ClickFunnels that was personal to me. So it might be something like emmadavis.clickfunnels.com. So any funnel pages from that point on that I sent people to would be emmadavis.clickfunnels.com/page name, funnel name, whatever. Okay. The same if you use something like Lead Pages, it would be something along the lines of emmadavis.lpages.com, or Kajabi, emmadavis.kajabi.com, and so on and so forth. The problem with this, and this is where people do get confused, is that you don't own these domain names. I don't own ClickFunnels domain or Lead Pages or Kajabi or FG Funnels. I don't own those domains, and neither do you. Therefore, as you don't own them, you can't verify them, because it's not just verifying the domain. I think that's where people get confused. You're not just verifying that a specific domain name exists, you're verifying that you actually own it and that you can actually run ads to it. So what you need to be doing is either using, whether that means you've got to buy a new one or not, using a specific domain that you actually own on and setting them up as custom domains on those platforms, or you can use a domain that you've already got that you want to keep elsewhere by literally turning it into, for these platforms, just using a subdomain instead. So I could use, again, let's say I'm using Kajabi this time, and I'm saying, well, I don't want any other domains. I want to use emmadavisuk.com, but I don't want to move my website into Kajabi. I want to leave it where it is. What do I do? Well, I could use something like a subdomain along the lines of go.emmadavisuk.com. I've seen that used quite a lot, actually. Go dot. It's a word dot and then your domain name. So it could be learning.emmadavisuk.com or hub.emmadavisuk.com. It doesn't matter what word you use. I mean, hopefully it'd be something that actually means something. You're not just going to put, I don't know, banana.emmadavisuk.com, but you could, you obviously using your own domain name. In all these examples I'm using mine, but this is using your own domain names. So yes, you could use whatever you want. If you want to use banana or, I don't know, potato. I'm obviously in a fruit and veg type of mood today in recording this. So, but if you decide to use that, you can actually then set up that subdomain as a custom domain on these other platforms, and you can do it that way instead, because within Facebook, you only have to verify the main part of your domain name. So as you can see here, emmadavisuk.com. So the part that comes after www. or the part that comes after http or https, etc. You only need to do the main part, and that's the part that you register with your domain registrar whenever you bought it in the first place. Okay, hopefully you get that now. So you need to have a domain you either already own or you buy a new one, or you set up a subdomain on one you already own, and you need to get those onto these platforms to make sure that you can actually run ads to them, unless you're just running ads direct to a site that is set up on that domain. So the very first step is very simple. Click on add, and this is where we're going to add the domain. As I said, without anything before it. So it says here, you can only verify the root domain. Okay, so that's what that's what I was trying to think of what it was called before. For example, example.com. You can't verify a subdomain, but it doesn't mean you can't use a subdomain to send ads to. But Facebook needs you to actually verify the root domain. So the one I'm setting up today is the adfixer.com, because it's a domain I've bought specifically to build my funnel out for my mini course that I'm creating about how to fix your Facebook ads. So I'm going to do the ad.com. Oh, is it ad or ads? Sorry, that is the adsfixer.com, and just click on the blue add button. Okay, great. So I've put this onto the account, but as you can see here, it says not verified. So this is the next step that understandably people can be very confused about, because it means changing what are called the DNS settings for your domain name. So before I get into that, if you see here, it says verify your domain name, you've got to select an option. Well, the first two options, you really do need to get into the back end of your website and your domain and all these different things. And it may not work if you've got a subdomain and all sorts of things. So the easiest and most robust and reliable way of actually getting things set up to make sure you can verify your domain is this third option here: update the DNS text record with your domain registrar. Okay, so just your domain registrar is where your domain is, where you bought your domain, or if you use Cloudflare, you will have actually changed some settings with where you register your domain and moved it across to Cloudflare by changing some of the DNS settings. So in my case, I've got emmadavisuk.com. My registrar is actually my hosting company, that's SiteGround. So that's where I did this process. But all the other domain names I've actually bought through Namecheap. So some of that, this Ambition to Impact, I set up a while back now, and I haven't moved it across to Cloudflare, which is now where I set things up. I store my domains on there, the ones that I'm actually using, but I'm not using this at the moment. So I'm going to show you how to do that on Namecheap and also then on Cloudflare. So you'll see in a minute that workwithemma.com I have set up on Cloudflare, and also the Ads Fixer. So what we need to do is go into either your domain registrar, or it could be your web hosting company if that's who you've got your domain registered with, or Cloudflare if you're using that, and change this or add in this text record. So you see it says follow the instructions to add this TXT record to your DNS configuration. And you see if I hover over the text in bold, I can just click on it and it copies it to my clipboard even. So we haven't got to worry about what that says. But we can't click on this green button yet because we haven't set the bits up on the other side to actually be able to do this. So let's go and have a quick look. I'm going to go into Namecheap first. So Ambition to Impact is the one I've set up. So if you're using something like Namecheap, you're going to go into here, you've got the domain list, and I'm going to click on Manage. So if you're using any registrar and you're a different registrar, I can't show you all of them, there are too many. But if you're not sure how to change the DNS settings or where to find them, then if you contact your domain registrar, they will help walk you through it. But here you see I went to domain list, I've gone into manage, and it showed me the domain. And if I click then on advanced DNS, you'll see here that I've got these host records here. And as you can see, I've already added this text record, but I'm going to show you quickly how to add. So here we go, click add a new record. And all I did was scroll down to text record. Now this is the root domain we have to verify. So I'm going to click at in there because that means the root domain. And then I would paste in what I copied. You know, remember when we clicked on here to copy that? That's what we put in the value. And then you can leave this TTL bit as automatic, and then here I would just click the green tick and it would save it. Now I'm not going to do that here because obviously I've already set it up above, like I've set it up, I don't need to do it again, but this was just to show how you might do it if you use Namecheap or even any other specific domain registrars, or even within your hosting company. I mean, I could show you SiteGround as well, but we could get much too long on the training. So as I said, a couple of these I set up through Cloudflare, and these are the ones I use on my FG funnels. So it's just the way I like to have things set up. And to be honest, I'll probably move them all across to Cloudflare at some point. It's just these two here, these two domains are what I've got registered in my FG funnels account, which is where I have my funnels, my emails. It's where my courses are going to be stored, everything else. So I'm going to click on the domain I've already added to the account. I don't need to show you how to do that. If you're using Cloudflare, you already have it set up. So in here we go to the DNS, and again this time you see I've only got a couple of records in here. I'm going to click add record. I'm actually going to do it this time because this is where it is, and I'm going to select TXT or text. And again, it says use @ for root, which is what we want to do. And as you can see, then changes above that. I don't know if you saw that. So it says name has a record with content, nothing there. And then if I put at in, then it says theadsfixer.com has a record with, and I haven't put the content in yet. So again, TTL we leave as auto, and then we click in the content box, and this time I'm going to paste in again that part we took from Facebook. And all we do here is click save. Okay, so we've now got the text record added, and it is simple as that. We then go back to Facebook. Now I'm going to click on verify domain, but as you can quite clearly see here on this step 4, note it may take up to 72 hours for the change to propagate across the servers, and that's very true. That's not a Facebook thing, that's just a domain thing. Now most of the time when I've done this, I click on verify domain and it's immediate, but sometimes it can take up to 72 hours. So if it doesn't happen straight away, try it for a few times over maybe 24 hours. If it's still not working, I would just go back and double check that you have actually set things up correctly. And if not, you just unfortunately will have to be patient. So I'm going to click verify domain. There we go. Theadsfixer.com is verified. So simple as that. It's added to my account. I've verified it and we're ready to use it. So now we're going to move on to step 2. Now step 2 is adding I don't know why it's called this, the aggregated events. It's such a mouthful. And to do this, we need to go into sort of a different part of it, back into sort of Ads Manager now rather than the business settings. So up here again, we click on the hamburger menu and we need to go into Events Manager. And here we are. We are in Events Manager. Now ignore all these pixels I have. You can't delete pixels once you set them up. You only ever need, just to clarify, you actually only need 1 pixel per, well, you can only have 1 pixel per ad account, but you only need 1 pixel per ad account. I've seen other people, again, get confused thinking they need a pixel set up for every different funnel or offer they set up. You don't. The pixel is attached to your ad account, not your external websites or funnels or anything else. It's just, I've set things up in the past for testing, and unfortunately once they're set up, you can't delete them. So they just sit there with little red warning triangles. Okay, so we're in my main pixel area here. I've gone to Events Manager, and this is the first screen you'll see. So as I scroll down, I'm going to, as you see, there's 2 little sort of buttons here, and I'm going to click on Aggregated Event Measurement. And then I'm going to click on, ignore this bit, I don't know why it's showing that. As you can see, I've got events being tracked here. So we go onto there and we click on the button here that says Manage Events. Okay, so the reason we need to do this is otherwise it causes problems. If you're sending people from your ads to a landing page to sign up for some free offer, or register for a webinar or a video series, or take a quiz, or you're sending them to a sales page because you want them to make a purchase, or even maybe book on a call, anything like that, these are all conversion events. And if we don't tell Facebook what type of conversion events we actually want to track back to our domains through the pixel, it won't track them, and you won't get accurate data as much as you can nowadays with Facebook ads. Okay, so as you can see, emmadavisuK.com, I've got 6 events, 6 of the 8 events configured. This is another thing, you can only configure up to 8 events. You shouldn't need all 8. Really, so don't sort of think, oh my god, how am I going to do all this? Okay, just configure the main events. Don't worry about, you'll see in a minute you get the option to choose custom conversions and all sorts of things. Do not worry about that. Just literally, well, you do need to worry about that if you're using custom conversions as your conversion event when you're setting up your ads, but I don't recommend you do that anyway. Just stick to Facebook's main events and use them in here, and use them when you set up your ads. So lead, purchase, add to cart, initiate checkout, subscribe, complete registration, all these different ones. Just stick to the core ones that Facebook uses. You don't need to set up custom conversions to track events. Okay, and work with them, I've got 5 of 8 set up. As I said, I think I said earlier, I don't use Ambition to Impact yet, so that I haven't set anything up on it. I've just added the domain automatically when I bought it. Okay, so I'm going to click on the adsfixer.com, and as you'll see, nothing here. So I'm going to click on Manage Events. Now it's coming up with this warning because I've got ads running, but you can ignore this because you'll be doing this before you actually run ads to this domain name, and also the ads I'm running aren't even going to this domain name, so it's not going to affect those ads at all. They're all running to workwithemma.com, so it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. If, as we're doing this the first time around, you shouldn't have anything in here either, but so you'll get to this page and you might think, what the hell? And this is just if you had any events set up where it lists them. So there's a green button over here. We're going to click Add Event. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is click on this drop down under the pixel custom conversion. I'm going to select my pixel, which is Emma Davis pixel, and then I'm going to choose an event. Now, if you see on the left here, it says highest priority. You can select whichever ones in whichever order now because you can reorder them afterwards. But you do need to bear in mind that Facebook will choose which it sees as the highest priority and lowest priority. So if you've got a little bit more of a complex funnel, so people go through and they maybe sign up for something and then maybe you offer them a low cost offer, you've got 2 things you'll be tracking there. The first one is a lead because they've signed up for whatever you're offering for free, but you've also potentially got someone making a purchase, which also has the other events you could track, which are potentially add to cart or initiate checkout, and then the actual purchase event. So what happens here is, depending on how you set this part up, Facebook will only track one of those events. Okay, so if you say your leads are more important than your purchases, and someone goes through your funnel and signs up as a lead, then goes on to make that purchase in the same time, it will be the lead that gets tracked back to Facebook and attributed to your ads. Okay, if you choose purchase, it will be purchase. Obviously, most that's with a it's not even really a complicated funnel, but a slightly more complicated funnel. Most people will be sending traffic from their ads directly to some sort of opt-in page, again, whether that's for a lead magnet or, sorry, that notification threw me, a lead magnet or to register for a webinar or a challenge or anything like that. Or they might be sending people directly through to a low-cost offer, so, a $27, $27, $37, $47 offer, in which case they want to track purchases. But at this point, we're setting up all the potential events that you might want to track with any of your ads. Okay, it's not one specific. So at this point, I'm going to be, now the ads fixer, I'm actually that's going to be a low cost offer, but I'm still going to add the lead event because I don't know, at some point I might do something on that actually collects leads as well on this domain name. So I may as well add it in. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to click. Actually, I'm going to select purchase first because for me on this domain, this is my most important event, okay? Because this is what I said, it's a low cost offer. This is what I'll predominantly be using it for is to get people to purchase, okay? So that is my highest priority. Here you can switch on value optimization, but as you can see here, as soon as I've hovered over it, you have to have 30 optimized purchases before in 7 days to be able to turn that on. So obviously I haven't had any yet, so because I haven't used it yet. Okay, so that's on there. I need to stop saying so, I can hear myself. The next one is, again, I'm going to use the same pixel. I'm probably going to have an initiate checkout because I'm going to have a 2-step order form. So I want to track people who filled in the first part of the order form and initiated the checkout, but maybe not finished the purchase. And then I'm going to add in the lead event in case I do actually have anything on this domain name that tracks leads. Now at the moment these are all that I need. I could add more just in case, but you can always come back and add them. You just need to remember to do it. But most of the time these are the main ones. I know some people do like to use complete registration for webinar registrations and things like that. I'm not a fan. I'd like to stick with leads purely because Facebook has, I think, more people use the lead event and therefore Facebook has more data about the types of people who actually do become leads. And then once you've added these in, you just simply click on the blue button down here, apply, and then it's going to say something about the ads again, but again, I mean, half of these ads aren't even running. I've only got, I can't remember how many I've got running. So it's, yeah, but don't need to worry about that. It will only be if you've already set this up. This is only applicable if you'd already set this up and you're going to back in to add in a new event or remove one of the events for whatever reason. Then, and you are running ads directly to this domain, then it could affect the delivery of your ads. So this is important. It's just not important right now in the context of this video, in the fact that we are literally setting up a brand new domain to be used with ads, not one that was already set up. So we click on apply, click OK, and then we get taken back to here. And as you see, I've now got 3 of 8. So we've got the event name, the purchase, initiate, and lead. So if you did want to, I just had a thought, what I didn't do before I clicked OK was show you how to reorder them. So I've just gone back into here. It's simple as clicking onto these 6 dots on the left and dragging it up. So I could put lead as my highest priority, then purchase is the next one down, and then initiate checkout. But I'm going to leave it as it was. So you can just move these around. So just think which are the most, in terms of your funnels, which are the most important events to you to track if you have more than one of these events taking place as people move through a funnel. Okay, so obviously I didn't change anything. I didn't actually leave anything changed, but that's how you can just change it. Okay, just drag it around and then you'd click on the apply button down the bottom right again, and there you go. I'll just cancel that. And that's it. That is how you add, verify a domain name, change the DNS settings so you can do that, and configure your